Welcome, everybody, to the Eden Army Podcast. I'm your host tonight, Pete Robertucci. Good to see you guys. Today is July 23rd, Season 2, Episode 25-ish of the podcast. And, of course, we're coming to you live from YouTube, Facebook, X, and Kick. And I'm getting notes in the background from Russ. Not seeing the videos on my end. Maybe that's old. Is that old, Russ? Give me a thumbs up. No? Okay. Just keep it going. Guys, did you see the video, the intro video? Let me know. Okay. Russ says he's good. Okay. And T says he's good. Perfect. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. We've got so many people traveling, so many people out and about. We're trying to organize all of this. Russ isn't here to hold my hand, so I got to do all that crap. It's a pain in the butt. But, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Since we were here last time, looks like Meta resubscribed, Fireman Ed, and of course Miss Terry. Miss Terry is the OG. She's on 30 months. So props to you. Let's see who is over there on Kick. So K-Love, good to see you, K-Love. Susie Q, good to see you. Man Crush Monday, Kelly, Guy, EA1's in the house. You guys are blowing it up over there. Who else we got? I know I've seen some more of the regulars. Miss Meta. And, of course, Miss Terry. Love you, Miss Terry. Cycling through, seeing who's live, checking it out. Mama Teresa's in the house, too. And P7 is in the house. Cool. So all the regular gang of misfits are out and about. So that is perfect. Guys, tonight we have Tony from Alpha 42. You remember him. He's on the road, so he's joining us tonight also. And, of course, Russ from Broken Spokes is in the background right now, and we're going to bring them up. And they're going to give us some insight on what they know about the current topics that we're going to be talking about, which is include the best Maine has to offer for Senate. I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to say that because we're going to run the video. But the Democrats, the best they have for a senator in Maine, we're going to run that video. Love it. In New York, a socialist claims he's going to be arresting a Jew. Sounds weird, doesn't it? Trump attended a dignified transfer of U.S. soldiers killed in action. New Jersey DMV allows non-citizens to vote. And the main topic for this evening, and I need to know what you guys know about this, flock cameras. What do you think about them? Are they safety? Are they surveillance? You tell me. But first, this little segment by a sponsor. This segment of the Eden Army Podcast is sponsored by Dennis Simon with Dennis by God Art. Dennis is a contemporary and pop culture artist who draws realistic pencil drawings of notable figures. You can find him at the website listed above. Get on there, give him some likes, and contact him for your own personalized art. Heck, you might even recognize some of the people over there on his page. So thank you, Dennis, for being a sponsor of the Eden Army Podcast, and we look forward to working with you in the future. There you go. The Simon by God does pencil art, guys. He's our new sponsor, doing a segment, sponsor that segment for us. So very cool. Russ, what's going on? You're in Montana?
I am, man. I'm up here for Mountain Readiness West. Got quite a lot of the OG crew from Mountain Readiness up here. Tom Bryce and his wife Kathy, along with her sister Vicky, Meta and Kelly are here. Of course, Big Bob is here running things. He brought his daughter Taylor and John and their kids, and we got to actually meet Bob's oldest son, who's here with his son, I believe. Let's see who else is here from down there. Chris and Mel have made it in. Brian Duff, Joey's here. Brian Loftus pulled in today. It's a good time, man. Just like always, we've kind of sequestered ourselves in what we consider our angry land, and they've, of course, segregated us from the rest of the folks.
Well, that's probably a smart thing.
Probably a good thing, absolutely. Yeah. The trip out was incident-free, except when Kelly decides he wanted to, he had to yell at a couple people for blocking the gas pumps, because they go in and do the shopping thing. And I don't disagree a bit, but he had to cuss out two guys in Montana because of that. But other than that, no jail time.
All that happens, especially when you're pulling a long trailer. You got to worry about it. Mr. Tony D. Benedictus, or Alpha 42, where are you at? You look like you're in front of an ice van right now, getting ready to do your work. Tell us about your undisclosed location and what you've been up to the last couple of weeks.
Well, I'm not supporting ICE today. No.
Oh, okay.
I'm taking a break from a little gig I'm on, but I just came back from Kentucky Sustainable Living, the show they had out there. Jason did a great job last weekend, and was happy to be out there. A lot of great instructors, a lot of great products, other vendors, and then just the people showing up. It was a real good time. So I'm back resetting and hanging out in Virginia back home and yapping with you guys today.
Very cool. Well, I am solo. I'm a bachelor up here in Wisconsin. The wife is down south picking up mini me, and her and her 2 cats are flying back up here. So apparently I'm running a doggy daycare and a quasi hospice care center for little Barack, because he's 17 years old. He's a Chihuahua, but this thing, I better not say that because I've been knocked on wood. Say that. Yeah. So there she is. How's her little dog? He's doing great, Miss Melissa. I'm giving him 4 different medications twice a day as instructed, and as you on the list you put there. So I'm filling it out, and I'm making it all happen. But boy,
she's having you sign. Is she having you sign out the meds, man?
I check off twice a day, like AM, PM. Look,
feel like you're back at work.
No, I need receipts. I need receipts, Russ, because if something were to happen to this dog, I need documentation that I did everything for the SOP.
Life every day, man.
Yeah, exactly. So I need to make sure I take a picture of him every day. He's still alive. I look at him. It's going to be bad, Russ. It's going to be bad. It's not easy being me. Jason's in the house. Good to see you. Mama Tooch, of course, is in the house. Good stuff. Well, guys, let's jump into the most bizarre one of the week. And Maine Democratic Senator, I can't even say this with a straight face. He is a Democratic Senate hopeful. Ashley Webb has a resume that apparently makes him more qualified for the job than anybody else. Webb has run for office several times without winning. Writes songs and books, Russ, and reportedly claims have recently resurfaced about his online posts saying that he has monthly periods through his anus. No, this isn't a Saturday Night Live skit. This is the best the Democrats have to offer in Maine. Let's roll it.
Ashley Webb, what qualifications do you have to serve in the U.S. Senate?
Oh, I ran for office several times. Didn't win, but I did run. And then I'm a songwriter, and then I write my own books. And then I suppose my transparency, I wouldn't lie to the people, and I wouldn't deceive the people like we're being deceived right now. Like, we get lied to, smoke and mirrors, like what's going on with ICE. Pretending like these victims did something wrong. Like, that's unacceptable. And I suppose the biggest thing is, like, I'm just an angry citizen now, and if I got elected, I'd be an angry senator, and I think that would probably be their worst nightmare.
So before we talk about Mr. Ashley Webb, this is another one on the podium here, and listen to what she has to say when she's asked some very important questions about the Iranian war and the War Act.
I think Collins did vote for a war powers resolution to limit what Trump could do in Venezuela in January, right?
So forgive me. A week ago, I was on vacation on a river on the Kennebec, and I've been running for governor. I didn't think I was running for U.S. Senate a week later. And what I do know is that when I need to know the facts, I will.
Guys, when she needs to know the facts, that's when she'll actually learn about politics. But first you have to, it's like Pelosi says, first you got to pass the bill before you read the bill. Is this the best, guys? Is this the best Maine Democrats have to offer? Russ, go.
So we have Timu Obama. Mm-hmm. Now we have Timu Meatloaf. And I mean, like I posted over in the chat, I'll do anything for love, but I can't do that. Yeah, that blows my mind.
And I don't know how either one of these people are polling, and who's going to be the front runner in there in that particular race. But God help us if the Republicans don't win that seat. I mean, I don't know. T, what do you got to say? What do you think, brother?
Well, obviously we know what we're going to talk about before you come on here, and I still wasn't prepared to watch it again. So I will say neither one of them are polling very well at all, the two that we're speaking in particular. But with our own situation we have here in Virginia, I don't feel quite as bad as I did last November as I do for Maine and what prospectively they have in front of them. I just it's a sad case when we see that is who feels motivated to represent their fellow citizens. I give them credit for at least being up there, but man, it doesn't say much for the group up there that you have to choose from.
And what does that say about the state of our politics in general, right? I mean, and I just keep saying it over. This is the best of the best. We're talking about a United States senator.
Yeah.
We're talking, someone who holds a high position as a lawmaker. Yeah. And this guy apparently has his period out of his anus. I don't. I can't fathom it.
It's called a hemorrhoid, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, I would think. Skidmore says, but the sad part is one of them will most likely win the seat just because of Maine. That's the thing, right? And you hope to get the most moderate one in there. But of those candidates that they have there, I don't think. Now I don't know what the other platforms, what kind of platform the other ones are running on, but I think you're going to see either another socialist or another communist taking that seat, and then we'll have to deal with the split Senate again.
Yep.
The problem is, Miss Terry probably needs to go to the doctor, but what he's going to go to the doctor for is to get body parts taken off. I mean, I don't know.
Not going to get the right help.
No, I don't think so either. So,
but I will say this: I don't agree with that person as a whole and all that, but at least they're up there. They can't say that they're not trying to make a difference.
Yeah, they're doing it. It's a lot better than a bunch of people on Facebook that are just political scientists via Facebook.
We can't get conservatives out to vote.
Exactly. So, Guy says he thought that was me at first. Guy, I wasn't going to say this, but that laugh that gentleman had somewhat reminded me of your laugh. Just saying. And
I won't disagree with that.
Let's ask the crowd here real quick. I'll run that little snippet again.
Ashley Webb, what qualifications do you have to serve in the U.S. Senate?
Oh, I ran for office several times. Didn't win, but I did run. And then
I don't know. I'll let the viewers describe or decide that one. It's kind of like the nervous laugh that guy does sometimes. Yeah, but God bless him.
Caleb agrees.
Yeah, I love him, her. I love everybody. But man, okay, all right. Let's move on because we got a lot to go cover this year. Let's talk about another crazy person that happens to be a socialist and a communist. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani says that he would like to see Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu arrested over International Criminal Court warrant. The ICC alleges war crimes and crimes against humanity, but Netanyahu has not been convicted. The United States, and this is the important thing here, the United States is not a member of the ICC and not required to enforce its warrants. So the ICC is junk. Mamdani also admitted that a New York City mayor likely lacks the authority to arrest a foreign leader. Some critics say the ICC, regardless, is politically biased and regularly oversteps its jurisdictions. That's it.
Well, Well, New York City Mayor Mamdani today is standing by his comments that the city is discussing whether it can arrest Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu if he attends the United Nations General Assembly in September. The International Criminal Court has issued an arrest warrant for Netanyahu for alleged war crimes and accuses him of crimes against humanity in Gaza. But President Trump is standing by Netanyahu and insisted today that he will not be arrested in New York City. Here's Eyewitness News reporter NJ Burkett.
Mayor Mamdani doubled down on his threat today that he would not hesitate to order the arrest of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
When someone is charged with an International Criminal Court warrant, it's something that should be taken seriously.
The mayor said the city would seek to uphold a warrant for Netanyahu's arrest issued nearly 2 years ago over the war in Gaza, a threat he first issued during the mayoral campaign and repeated in an interview with the New York Times late last week.
I believe that Prime Minister Netanyahu belongs in The Hague. He's a war criminal who has been charged by the International Criminal Court.
Mamdani has called the Israeli offensive in Gaza an act of genocide that has killed more than 70,000 Palestinians. He's also condemned the Hamas attacks of October 7th, which killed 1,200 Israelis and started the war. Netanyahu is expected to attend the UN General Assembly in September.
Whatever the law allows me to do in New York City, that's what we will do.
Posting on social media today, President Trump quickly ruled it out. Benjamin Netanyahu will not be arrested in any way, shape, or form while in the United States of America. On WABC Radio, Netanyahu himself dismissed the threat.
So he's with the terror actors, and I think the problem is, that he doesn't recognize or he doesn't care that those who hate the Jews and Israel ultimately hate America.
Rabbi Joe Potasnik served on the mayor's transition team.
If you're the mayor, you should find opportunities to bring communities together, not to tear them apart. So I wish you would focus on that and not the other.
It's the worst genocide in history, guys, because they dropped something like 40,000 bombs in Gaza. I don't know. Maybe that's an overestimate. But you would think that if the Jewish people wanted to commit a genocide in such a small area, that it would be pretty easy and there'd be almost, 900,000 people killed. I don't know. What do you think, Russ?
When you pick on someone that's bigger than you, sometimes you end up paying the price. They killed 1,200 people when they first entered Israel on October 7th. And since then, what was it, 70,000? That's an FAFO, And, it blows my mind. And then when you have Mamdani sitting there, trying to overstepping his boundaries yet again, just like he did when he was trying to meet with the Iranian consulate, yet again, stepping over his boundary. You're a fucking mayor. You're not a senator. You're not president. Stay in your damn lane. That's it.
That's it. And Tony, you're a military guy, ex-military guy. Just picture this scenario: a drug cartel comes over the Mexican border, goes into a small border town in Texas, and commits the type of thing that Hamas did to the Jewish people on October 7th. How do you think the United States will react?
Well, in theory, we would do what we did in 9/11 the first few months anyway, and crush them. What happened after that's a whole other topic for the other day. But you can't be mad about the repercussions from those actions, right? But I think there's room for discussions whether it's a genocide or not, whether it's justified or not. They 1,000% should defend themselves. I'll leave that at that. But more to the point is, why is Mamdani not trying to govern his own city instead of worrying about international affairs? Kind of like what Russ is saying.
Yeah,
you don't have anything else to do there. The crime, the drugs, the state of that he talks about housing, all this stuff. Why are you going to Iran? Why are you talking about arresting, international politicians and stuff when you have your own problems in your own city? It's all just signaling. The dude knew that he wasn't going to do anything because he has other aspirations, and he's just pushing an agenda. You know,
That's
and
exactly right. And honestly, he's the face of the Democratic Party right now,
Sure.
right? He's the most successful. He's the first one that openly admits he's a democratic socialist slash
Yeah.
communist, and he got elected in one of the biggest cities in our country,
in the
right?
world.
So, in
Yeah.
the world, exactly, you're right.
Yeah.
And he has a budget that is bigger than most countries alone that he's dealing with, right? Although that budget's in a deficit situation, but you're right. This is a movement within the Democratic Party. That's why he's out front. That's why he's getting all the airtime. And the moderates within the Democratic Party are trying to figure a way to not just shut this guy up, but also get their party back. Because, like I've said a million times, that party is beginning a big split, and that
For
could
sure.
be nothing. That's the best thing that could happen to us. I will say that I'm not going to say this on the air, but the Mossad, or let me stop, the Jewish intelligence agencies had addressed Mandami's threat, and you guys can look that up and see what they said. But I'm not gonna put that on the air. But you can look it up; it's readily available, and they would certainly do it. There is a prep of the week. I got it. You got it already. Quick, I'll let you do your gig, Russ. I'll let you do your gig. I apologize. What are your thoughts, guys? Now I know there's a lot of debate on this administration and the Jewish administration, how they're tied in. Look, I don't know. At the end of the day, though, like Tony said, they have a right to defend themselves. Now, are they taking more land than they need to? Are they moving into Lebanon further than they need to? That is up for debate. But is that what they need to secure the borders? I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't care. But I will say that Israel's our strongest ally in the region. And as long as they got a bullseye on their back, guess what? The homeland doesn't have a bullseye on our back. So that's my thought process behind all that. Cool stuff. Russ, you got anything to add to that?
No, not really. I mean, it's like you said, he is the face of the Socialist Democratic Party now because he did come out as saying that's what he is. They're showing their colors, folks. Vote accordingly. Watch your six.
And again, don't be paranoid, guys. Just be prepared. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Will makes a point. The left is pushing for total alignment with communists. I agree, but there's a small portion of the Democratic Party. I think there were 13 high-level officials within the Democratic Party that are saying, no, that you guys are going too far left. This is why I think we're going to see a split. Then we'll know for sure where all the money goes, right, during midterms. Where do all the donors put their money? You know that the young people are going to back the socialists / communists. We're going to see where the big money actually goes, though, right? If it goes to more moderates.
Yeah, I think we would all be better suited not confusing the left with the Democratic Party. If there's a hope for this country at all, is we spend a lot of time and energy at our level identifying what's what and what's not, and lumping the right in with the right or the conservative movement versus the left in with the progressive Democratic Socialist Party versus just the regular Democratic Party. Because the majority of America sits in the middle of both those parties. And that's what's getting pushed to the wayside. So I 1,000% agree. They're not even hiding anymore, Russ. They're openly talking about who they are, and all this signaling and everything else. They're aligning. The fact that you would align yourself with the ICC, who doesn't even have the
jurisdiction. They got no jurisdiction.
Thank you. Along with other parties or other groups and stuff too. So, we need to spend more time focusing on what we have in common as parties, and then ostracizing those who are trying to destroy the parties themselves. There's parts of both parties that are trying to destroy the parties because they want to push it to the extremes, and this is part of that.
Yeah, I agree. And somebody made a good point today on TV. They said at first the Democratic Party embraced the socialism, the far left aspect of it, but now they're fighting to try to control it. It's just, and they have the momentum. And why do I bring all this up? You've got to be aware of your surroundings. You got to be aware of what's happened politically, what's happening in New York, what's happening. You don't have to know it all about all these situations, but you have to kind of be cognizant and aware of it so you can make an informed decision when it comes to your preparedness. Russ, do you have to add something?
Well, and it kind of leads into something that's kind of a sidebar. Down in Argentina, They just, I think it's Argentina, they just elected a very conservative new president. And the FARC, and I can't, don't try to get me to tell you what the FARC actually stands for, but most of us have heard of it. They were taken off of the terrorist watch list by Obama back during his regime, and they're starting to make noise again. So, stuff like that happens internationally, but it could eventually start happening here. So you have to know what's going on with your surroundings.
Yeah, again, don't Toombs always says, don't be paranoid, just be prepared. Can somebody look up, Russ? Can you look up? I think Caleb says that there was a possible man-pad.
Yeah, man-pad
in New York.
Yeah, I think that was yesterday or something. Supposedly there was one that was called in. You can hear there's a audio recording of the Delta pilot talking to the tower. It's they're pretty nonchalant about it. He's like, okay, I'll go around this way then. It doesn't look like anything came of it.
They said it ended up being false is what I understand. But.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but still, the fact that there's concerns about that. And I think CIA Sarah at one point said that there were a certain amount of man-pads that came in through the south border. So
sure.
False flag in New York, no man-pad. Will says, well, that's the Northeast for you guys. You never know what the hell's going to go on. And if you cry wolf enough times, you're going to get worried about it. Go ahead.
Okay. So anonymous caller reported someone with a portable rocket launcher. Of course, man-pad is a shoulder-fired surface-to-air missile near Terminal C, so that would actually be on LaGuardia Air Space. The air traffic controller issued a man-pad alert to incoming aircraft. Delta Flight 2604 out of Detroit was on final. Pilot was warned. Controller explained what it stood for. Port Authority police searched the area, determined that it was not credible and a hoax. No actual weapon was found.
You know what it actually was, now that I think of it, since that guy in Maine bleeds out of his butt, it was actually a man-pad. That's what he was. Maybe that's what that was.
Tony, you saw that one coming too, didn't you?
Yeah, man.
I apologize. All right.
Oh, my goodness.
Speaking of the Northeast, the New Jersey DMV admitted that they had a software error reportedly allowing 6,600 non-citizens to be registered to vote, even though they indicated they weren't U.S. citizens. They were told them they weren't U.S. citizens. They still registered them to vote. Very few of those people voted in actual elections. I think the number was like 400 too much, in my opinion. But at least 2 other states have publicly acknowledged similar automatic registration failures. Oregon identified roughly 1,560, while Illinois mistakenly registered 545 people. But this is what the Democrats said. Why do you need voter registration? Why do you need voter ID? This never happens. This is not a problem. Well, this is the tip of the iceberg, and the only reason these Democratic states are coming out and telling us about it now is because the White House is asking them for voter registration rolls, which a lot of them are not complying with until they go and do an audit themselves. So I'll run that clip real quick.
In June of 2023, nearly 3 years before I became governor, a serious software error in New Jersey's motor vehicle system led to the improper voter registration of what we believe to be roughly 6,600 people in our state. When New Jerseyans applied for a driver's license or identification at the MVC, they were asked if they wanted to register to vote. In the case of this error, some individuals indicated that they weren't citizens and weren't eligible to vote, but the software registered them anyway. The error in the software was corrected a year later in June of 2024. That is more than 2 years ago. I learned of this last Wednesday, and I immediately ordered my chief counsel to launch a comprehensive investigation. Currently, the Division of Elections is working to ensure anyone who is illegally registered is removed from the voter rolls. This entire situation is unacceptable. It's unacceptable that the vendor released software with such a glaring error. It's unacceptable that the MVC took a year to get this issue fixed. And it's unacceptable that no one in the previous administration brought this to light, demanded accountability, or took action when it happened years ago. For too long, the Trenton playbook has been to avoid tackling and solving tough problems. New Jersey's better than that. And I am working to create a different culture, one where we are both effective and transparent. This failure didn't occur under my watch, but accountability starts now.
Patrick, 7, you're right on point. They never admit when they'd done something wrong. They were getting ahead of the thing, right? That's what they always do. Or they gaslight when they're doing actually something wrong. They'll blame it on the other side, and likewise, I'm sure with the right side of that. So, guys, when you talk about presidential elections, midterms coming up, where some of these counties are within less than a % margin, 500, 600, 700 votes could make the difference. What do you think, Russ?
All right. Yes, I agree. She's probably getting ahead out of it, and she made sure she pointed out, I counted at least 3 times that she mentioned that all of this happened before she took office. And then as soon as she found out, yeah, we're going to do something about it. Okay. She's saying the right words, whether we don't know her intention behind it, but she is saying the right words. But, and it's rampant. We know it's rampant, and we need to hold these people accountable for these elections. We have this stated in the rules, in the rules that says you have to be a national citizen, you have to be a U.S. citizen, can't be a felon, blah blah blah, in order to vote. Follow the rules, folks.
Tony, isolated incident in your opinion, or is this a widespread problem? And what do we do about it? Is the SAVE Act the answer?
I mean, I think the SAVE Act will alleviate a lot of these issues, but to me, you're talking about program and personnel error, right? Yes,
allegedly.
It's 6,600. Yeah, 6,600 people were registered when they shouldn't have been. How do we know how many voted or didn't vote? I think the point of it is because it happened here in Virginia too. I know Governor Youngkin found 6,700 people are taken off the roll. Some of them were dead, moved away, et cetera, et cetera. That doesn't mean that they all voted, but it shows problems in the system itself, right? And you need transparency, right, in your systems. And you're going to have to come out with this information. It doesn't always make it bad. To me, it's a big leap saying that because people were registered illegally that they went out and voted. That what it is it shows that there's concern there and there's room for improvement. And there just needs to be accountability and an audit across the board, and the SAVE Act supports that.
Yep.
Russ kind of said it. The SAVE Act, you have to be a U.S. citizen, get your ID, and go vote. It's really that simple. So whatever systems we have in place, whether we're buying programs or certain machines from these people, it could be either side could be benefiting or losing out because of this. And if we're going to live in a democratic society, we need to know that system's working accordingly, or we need to hire more people to count by hand.
So the argument, Tony, is that from the left is that the voter ID disenfranchises minority voters because they have to go get an ID or show an ID, and not a lot of them have. And these are not my words. This comes straight from the left. They say that they're either not smart enough to get online and get an ID, they don't have internet, or whatever, or they don't have the money.
I hear it's more signaling. Yeah, it's more signaling, and you can't get on a government program without an ID. So why is it you can vote without an ID?
Yeah.
And I understand, but that's old. That's an old anecdote. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's just not the case.
Yeah, exactly. It's ironic to me that the Democrats can sit and say we have the smartest voters in the country, as opposed to the GOP voters, yet they would also say, well, our people aren't smart enough to go get an ID, or they're not.
Show me the proof of how it's disenfranchising people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How are you going to identify a group of people that are disenfranchised because they don't have IDs, and then you just leave them alone.
Well, and I love the
If you're
reporters.
identifying a
I
group-
love the reporters
yeah,
that go
yeah.
out in the street and ask these disenfranchised voters, "Hey, you got an
Yeah.
ID? Do you know where the ID office is, the DMV?" And they're like, "Yeah, I got an ID. Everybody has an ID. All my homies have an ID."
You know, you have to have an ID to apply for SNAP. You have to have an ID to apply for Medicare, Medicaid, all of that stuff. You had to have an ID. You had to have proof. I mean,
I find it humorous that the Democratic Party, really the left, I got to stop saying Democratic Party myself too, that the left makes the assumption that the only people that are impoverished or uneducated are Democrats, right? Or left.
Right.
I live in Appalachia, and there's people that have it hard out here, and work hard and do the right thing. They have IDs. It's not one side. If that's the case, then are you talking about both sides not being smart enough,
Right?
And not having the means to know where the ID office is and everything else? Like it's a bunch of crap. You know what it's signaling? I'm glad that they found it and they're coming out with it. I would prefer win or lose that we know it's being done.
Russ,
right.
would they ever have found it if the administration wasn't knocking on a door saying we need this?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think they would have admitted that they found it.
Yeah. And how much?
This is
Go
another.
ahead, Tony.
Yeah, sorry. This is another case of the government being so big they can't even manage themselves. I truly don't believe. I'll say it like that. I truly don't believe that the government as a whole is waking up with nefarious motives every day, right? Like I'm going to screw this country over. But what happens is when you don't have accountability, you don't have people checking, and you leave people to their own accords, things slip through the cracks. Nobody checks systems. It could have been nothing but an update on a stupid program, but because we don't do the right thing, it leads to all this nonsense. And then what happens is you do find the person that wants to do something wrong.
Right.
And now you've set things in place for them instead of us doing the right thing and being accountable. We're too big to be able to manage ourselves. And that's the biggest problem I have with the left in particular. They want us to grow even more. We can't manage what we got.
Right.
I mean, this is just another example of
Yeah, and I mean, and look, we've always been against big government, right? But there's a big fight in Florida right now, and it blows my mind because the local news stations, every ad they're running on Facebook right now is saying fire service is complaining that if this no property tax bill goes through, they're going to have to lay off 30 people or they're going to lose 1.6 million. And it blows my mind that media would actually, first of all, talk about it like that instead of, hey, if this property tax thing goes through where you don't have to pay property taxes, local municipalities are going to have to cut their spending, or they're going to have to going to have to stop wasting money. Like I said last week, we went to war for a 3% T tax, and now this is what America's come to.
Yeah, what are we taxed at, like 70% now or something crazy?
Ridiculous.
By I guess your pocket.
Yeah, it's crazy. Go ahead, Russ.
Yeah. Did you see Salty Heifer's comment?
I did not.
I'll pop it up here. Goes back to the same stuff we're talking about. In North Carolina, when the DMV or applying to public assistance, workers are required to ask everyone if they're not registered to vote at their current address, would they like to apply here today? We weren't allowed to question citizenship, and if they, let's see here, weren't allowed to, if the citizenship, and if they said they wanted to, we had to give them a voter registration form.
It's crazy, and there's a lot of this stuff that's going to come out, and I don't think it ever comes out without the administration, first of all, pursuing the SAVE Act and also saying, look, we need to audit your registration, your voter registration rolls. So I don't know.
I'll leave it with, tell me how the SAVE Act doesn't really benefit America. And if there's that many people that are disenfranchised, then what are we doing to fix that?
Exactly. That means the government hasn't been doing their job for the last 100 years, right?
And those are your people, and you represent those people specifically in the areas where you've been elected. So don't tell me that they're disenfranchised when you're their representation.
That's what I've been saying forever and ever, which blows my mind that those people still they drink the Kool-Aid, right? but that's
or it's not.
That's
real.
another story. Let's get on to a somber note, guys. President Donald Trump attended a dignified transfer to 4 fallen American soldiers at Dover Air Force Base. The soldiers, First Lieutenant Taylor Feehan, Sergeant Angel Rampersad, Private Isabella Gonzalez, and Sergeant Michael Swinton. Feehan, Rampersad, and Gonzalez were killed in an Iranian ballistic missile and drone attack that struck their sleeping quarters in Jordan. Swinton was killed days later during the controlled detonation of a downed Iranian drone. I'll run the thing. This is just him getting off. He's taking questions from the media. You can't hear the questions, but this is just him getting off the plane.
Some of you are going with us to honor our heroes, and they are indeed great heroes, actually. They said, and all of them said very strongly, we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. They won't have a nuclear weapon. So we're going to honor them, and one of the hardest things to do. For me, it's one of the hardest things to do as a president.
Guys, I don't want to dive into the Iranian war too much. Like Tony, we said in the green room earlier, there's just too much going on. I will note that there are a couple of things that have happened. The Houthis now are starting to attack Saudi Arabian shipping lanes in the Red Sea, I believe, and that's gonna prompt either the United States or Saudi Arabia to act. Also, what else do we have? Well, also the Iranians are now attacking critical infrastructure, desalination plants, and stuff like that. But what I'm tired of hearing, and I'm tired of hearing it from the Orange Man, I'm tired of hearing it from Trump. Don't keep saying their military has been decimated, and then we hear that U.S. soldiers are being killed by a ballistic missile. All right, just say what it is. We've done a great job. We've decimated most of their stuff. We don't want them to have a nuclear weapon, and I would put the onus on Congress and on the American people at this point. What do you want us to do? Do you want us to end this? You want us just to walk away? Or do you want us to end this regime that we've been at war with, regardless if anybody wants to admit it, for the last 47, 49 years, and end them, get rid of it? Can we end them? I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know. But I don't want to get into the Iranian debate and all that stuff. All I can say is, what's your guys' sense or thoughts on what the administration constantly coming day after day saying they're decimated, they're destroyed, and then we got to hear news like this, some of our war fighters being killed while they're in their freaking barracks?
You know, I don't disagree at all with what you said, Pete. And this one actually hit somewhat close to home. You know, my nephew was over there at it for a while, a couple months ago. And I talked to him this past weekend. And that was the exact same building he slept in while he was there.
Yeah,
so,
see, I mean,
it's like, wow, it kind of hits a little close to home. And I agree with you. Yes, we are taking it to them as best we can. Do we need to finish it? Russ's opinion, absolutely 100% finish it. I'm tired of the U.S. military being put into those situations and not being able to finish what they were tasked to do. Goes all the way back to Korea.
I agree, Russ, and we just need to pull the gloves and do it or not do it or walk away. Tony, another thing that happened that I didn't mention is a B-2 bomber landed in the UK. I think it was a B-2. I can't remember. But one of our large bombers landed there. The Iranian, whoever's in charge of Iran right now, says that now the UK is a viable target since they helped us do this, that, the other thing. What do you think, T? Should the UK be worried? They came back and said, we're ready whenever you are.
I mean, they're having enough trouble just getting rockets next door, so that's whatever. But, most of the bases over there that they're bombing are co-located with our counterparts, Britain, Australia, and everything anyway. Excuse me, anyway. But to me, it's just like, what are our military objectives? We've either met them or not. And if we have military objectives to accomplish political objectives, then that's not going to work. That's not how it works. So we either crush them and leave, so they know that they know what the repercussions can be if they don't come to the table.
Yeah,
But
I'm with you.
it's
I'm tired of hearing that they're never
Yeah.
going to get a nuclear weapon. Okay, I get that. I understand.
I thought that was done last
But,
year. Like just tell us what we're there for, because I'm not. It's starting to look like you don't even know.
And just be honest.
And,
Be honest with the American people. Look, I would say, regardless of what the polling is that's coming out for the Iranian war, I would say the majority of people that know the area, that know how these regimes act, to know the history behind the Iranians, how they acted in Iraq, how they acted in Iran or in Afghanistan, how many U.S. soldiers' blood is actually on their hands. The Jewish, the Israeli thing, the training for that, the October 7th attacks, training came from Iran. Just lay it all out and say, what do you want us to do? You want us to end this or not? And let the chips fall where they may. I don't know. That's my opinion.
There's a lot of information that, I guess that we don't have, but and maybe we don't need, and it's all good. But when I see a picture of, 4 American soldiers that have been killed from all walks of life, all races and genders, which I think I hate to see any death. Obviously, those of us that have deployed have had to experience it, some of us anyway. But I mean, it's America, and like if you're going to sacrifice that picture of us, you know what I mean, then we should know why. You know what I mean? And nobody knows why. We don't know what we're doing there. Nuclear weapons were supposed to be gone. They're either gone or they're not. The Strait of Hormuz has to be opened. It was open before we got there.
Right.
Like if there's something else going on there that we don't know, like let's get it over with. We are more than capable of crushing anything in front of us. We're not here to rebuild countries as a military anyway. And we're not here to force political will, so to speak, as a military. So show them what you can do, because right now they can tell that we don't have the appetite to do it. And that's why it's getting drawn out. They can just keep drawing this and kicking the can down the road, because they know people like us, other citizens, are going to get tired of it. So use the military the way it's designed to be, and it's a giant hammer. So smash crap
and get out.
Leave.
Right.
The politicians do what they need to do. Nobody wants, millions of deaths, thousands of deaths, 5 deaths. Nobody wants that at all. But if it's a means to the end, then do it the right way.
Get it done.
Yeah. Art of the deal doesn't involve life.
Right. Exactly. And I like it all. And that's why I like Tony. I like having you on here. You bring some sense to my usually Hawk break stuff, kill everybody type of thing. I like that. Guys,
there's a place for it.
Guys, quick word from our sponsors. Then we're going to talk about the topic of the night, which is flock cameras. What do you know about them? Are you afraid of them? Don't they already exist? Aren't they all over the place? We're going to talk about them. You tell me what you know about them and if you're worried about them or not right after this message. The Eden Army podcast is proud to be sponsored by Preparedness Health Systems, your one-stop shop for research-grade peptides and GLPs. Preparedness is not just about food, water, and defense. It's about understanding health, longevity, and resilience in a tough world. Preparedness Health Systems provides research-grade products for those serious about education, preparedness, and staying ahead of the curve. Email Preparedness Health Systems at preparednesshealth@yahoo.com. Proud sponsor of the Eden Army podcast. Research use only, not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
December 2025. Right now, a real scandal is unfolding in America. One by one, major cities are shutting down the flock safety system. Why? Because people have realized that they are being monitored 24/7. These are no longer just traffic cameras. This is a global AI network that knows where you were this morning, who you met, and which store you visited. Your movements are now an open book to the authorities. While cities fight it out in court, thousands of cameras continue to scan the roads. But every complex system has a vulnerability, and it's hidden in how these cameras see the world.
So there you go, guys. Flock cameras. I really honestly never had given these much thought. Look, we have street cameras all over the place anyway. With AI nowadays, you can integrate those street cameras to do facial recognition. This is not hard. I could take a picture of any of us and do facial recognition right now. Thanks, Skidmore, for you didn't have to do that. We appreciate that. But I understand that there is some people out there that are worried about this thing, and maybe rightfully so, because what I'm seeing is I've already seen that these flock cameras are not easily, well, I could say they are easily hacked into. So anybody from anywhere, for the most part, can get a feed for any intersection you want. They can get data on your license plates. They say that they're not using this at all for facial recognition, but they had a similar system in the UK and in Europe where that's exactly what they did. They also say that the FBI or the CIA or our intelligence agencies don't have access to these things without a warrant. However, in Europe, the MI6 got in trouble because they were looking at all this data. They were using facial recognition, and they were hemming people up because of it. Now, they were doing it under the auspice of the fight on terrorism. But I can tell you, and I want to get this right real quick. Let me just say that I know somebody that is still in the business with LEO and stuff like that. And when he saw my description of today's podcast, he sent me a note. And let me read this real quick without giving away his identity. Confidential information for your flock talk. Agencies work with utilities to place cameras on or in utility equipment for surveillance of drug dealers, pedophiles. I've been a part of 3 in the last month or so. They're extremely hard to spot, blend in perfectly. You're on camera everywhere. Just expect that you are. So is this a violation of the Fourth Amendment, right? That's a big question. If you're a constitutionalist, if you're a guy that believes in the Constitution, is it a violation of the Fourth Amendment? What do you think, Russ?
Well, I'm looking for the comment. Roy Dorn made a comment, or Julie made a comment for Roy because he's doing his Aries things. I'm trying to find it in the pinned comments real quick. In common, go ahead and go to Tony, and then I'll find it. Oh, there it is. I found it.
Okay.
According to Roy, who was LEO for 20 some odd years after he retired. In regards to flock cameras, there is no expectations of privacy in or on public roadways.
Agreed.
So,
that's 100% right. I could take my camera and I could sit there and use. The question is it a violation of the Fourth Amendment? Are you allowed to take that data and keep it stored for 60, 90 days and then work on trends people are moving back and forth? It's an argument. It's an argument that needs to be had, I think.
And I did some
I don't
research
think the actual taking the picture of the person is the problem. It's the data that they're using after that fact. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I did some research on, these are the safeguards that was claimed by Flock. Limited data collection. They say that they don't hold it for more than 30 days on a rolling basis. And it's only supposed to be, vehicle characteristics, date time stamps, that sort of thing. Explicitly does not collect biometric data, facial recognition, driver passenger identities, or other personally identifiable information. Agency controlled access. The police department owns the data and manages user accounts. Access is role based, and search logging and purpose limitations is encrypted. They're not supposed to be sharing it, and transparency.
Yeah,
but
it's encrypted, but yet a guy on YouTube can sit there and tap into every one of them and watch all of it before. I mean, there's vulnerabilities within the system, obviously. And you're telling me that if a guy, a Nick Shirley type, can go out there on the tech side, obviously, can go out there and hack into these things, you think intelligence agencies aren't? Not just our intelligence agencies either. We're talking about our enemies.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, that's what my research showed. I don't agree with it because I believe that we possibly the U.S. and other agencies, especially those with ill will toward us, are using that data.
Yeah, they're using it. They're using it. They're hacking into it, and unfortunately, under some of the laws that we have, our intelligence officials can do the same thing. Guys, there's a whole bunch of information I'm going to put on the Eden Army Survival and Outdoor page. I made a 10-page thing on it because we're not going to be able to go over it. Flock safety claims, like Russ was talking about just now. Also, some of what the critics would have to say, and also a question and answer thing, and some of the Q&A things that I kind of dove into a little bit. This is what I had. Who has access to Flock data? And of course, Flock Safety, who runs the company, says only LEO agencies have access to it. That's already been shown to be false because anybody can get access to the damn things. Just ask the internet. Have there been any Flock data breaches? I asked, and there's been a number of Flock breaches, and he talks about that, and that'll be uploaded on the survival page. Has Flock cameras ever been used by the FBI or CIA? Of course, they're saying there's nothing that's noted there. How many Flock cameras are active in the United States? Right now, there are 100,000 Flock cameras active, and the network reportedly operates in over 5,000 communities across 49 states. I also asked it, is Flock integrated with other surveillance platforms? And it went on to say, well, of course it is. CAD systems, computer-aided dispatch systems, police records. How about this one, Russ? Gunshot detection sensors. How about drones? How about real-time crime centers? Just all. It goes on and on and on. And again, with the advent of AI, you can get this feed and ask it just about anything, and you're going to find out what you need to find out. So I don't know. What do you think, Tony? What do you think? Flock cameras, scary, bad?
Well, I think they do serve a great purpose within reason, of course. So Flock is just one company.
Correct.
There's 5 or 6 other companies also that have this, that provide the same service. Flock just happens to be the bigger one and the more accessible one to try to figure out. The other companies were smart enough to hide where they're at, so they can't be abused, so to speak. But so the other thing with, I don't worry about Flock so much today. It's what can, and we'll use Flock for lack of better terms, but it's where's it going to go down the road.
Exactly.
So it's really it's not just a camera. Flock is a program, and other programs can be piled on top of that into those programs, and that's where the biometrics, facial recognition, and everything else can come in. And when it's used right, it's an incredible tool. It's contributed, not solved by itself, to tens of thousands at this point of missing people, not just children, but missing people. You think about people that wander out of their house, kidnappings, runaways, whatever. The problem is there's not enough checks and balances.
Right.
Knowing what cloud system the information is going into, who's doing penetration testing and everything else to make sure these systems are secure. Each city has the ability. Here in Roanoke, where I live, they just put up 40-something cameras on private property for almost all of them because the company itself was given the wrong information. So it's not always the system. More times than not, it's us as humans that are screwing it up and manipulating it or taking advantage of it. Police officers following people that they find attractive home in Georgia and a couple other states. So, a system, even if it's foolproof, if there's not accountability take accountability for the human error, we're going to have issues in that too. But I just think with the amount of shootings and crime that we have, police do need some help because they're not getting funded enough to have enough police officers. Almost every police force in this country are extremely undermanned, which means you can't be out proactively policing because then you'll be too far on the other side of your sector to respond to something else. So this policing has changed so much. Tech has to be a part of it, but it's just like with our own systems. There needs to be a level of accountability, and I don't see that. We always wait till we find out things are going bad before so there's just no foresight. And that's why I say, like, Flock right now, we should be worried about what's coming, not where it's at. And that's what I would say is we need to lean into it before it becomes something that is we can no longer control.
Yeah, and the first clip I ran was actually from a company that makes, when there are already companies out there trying to defeat this Flock thing. So that's already readily available. However, I don't know how you're not allowed to alter your license plate in any way, shape, or form to avoid these things. So that's going to be a legality issue to begin with. But I ran a query on a lot of stuff. Again, guys, that's on the Eden Army Survival and Outdoor page, not the regular Eden Army page. So you got to be a member to that page. And if you're inviting anybody to that page, make sure they answer the damn questions, because I delete them right away if they don't answer any of the questions. There's a lot of great information on there. Go check it out. And that entire 10-page research thing I did in the last few days is on there, because we're just simply not going to have time to do that. Javi made a good point. You know, people are worried about tracking, but our cell phones use geofencing whenever LEO wants to ask it. Of course, they got to get a subpoena for that, but that data is still stored somewhere. So the geofencing or the tracking your stuff, that's another one of those things, the data center things we were talking about. Guys, if you're carrying one of these, don't complain about being tracked. I don't care what kind of software or black phone or whatever you think you have. LEO has, they can get into it. This is the way it is. So,
yeah, I think that I'll leave it with this, because I don't want to belabor it too much. The tracking is whatever. Like, you have to ask why you're getting tracked, but it's more just the right to privacy. You're walking down the street, you're minding your own business, you're doing whatever, and you're under this watchful eye that you don't know who has control of, what they're going to do with it. You know, and humans continue to prove over and over again that we're going to screw everything up and take advantage of everything we can, and not knowing who's behind the system,
right,
and not having a third party, you know, like I said, doing penetration testings and auditing those systems. You can't have a system audit itself, right? And that's the big concern, is like, I should be able to walk down the street and know that that camera has some type of program on it. As soon as it recognizes me as not being what they're looking for, I'm no longer a part of the issue. You know what I mean?
Move on.
It's a
move on, and don't save the data. Right? Why are you saving the data then? Now, I get it. Look, I understand. I guess the real question, guys, is this a violation of the Fourth Amendment? I don't know the answer to that. It's going to be battled in court for a long time to come. I'm not particularly worried about it, because, again, on every street light, well, minus the one street light here in Birchwood, there are traffic cameras, and you can sit there and take that photo, and they can do whatever the hell they want to do with it. They can enhance it to see your drivers or your tag. They can enhance it. They could look right through and get facial recognition, whatever. But let's run this clip, because I don't want to run too late. Let's run this clip about a news thing about flock cameras, and it's interesting because it brings up the point you made, T, about it being misused potentially by some law enforcement people.
Who's watching the watchers? That's the question our I-team is looking at tonight with those license plate reading cameras. A new set of eyes is watching where and how they operate. Here's I-team reporter Sean Haggerty with the story new tonight. Sean?
Yeah, Josh, our investigative team has spent months dissecting everything that goes into these license plate readers. You know them as flock cameras. Tonight at 11 o'clock, you're going to meet a group that is watching the camera placements. Now, this week, I spoke with the reporter who's working that story. I was asking him, why is it so important that the cameras and departments like that are monitored?
Yeah, I mean, this technology is incredibly powerful. And the more cameras there are, and the more police departments using them and interconnecting their systems through Flock, the more powerful that system becomes. If you're looking for a criminal suspect, you know, after a murder or a kidnapping, or you're trying to find a stolen car, it's incredibly effective. But in order for that technology to be as effective as it is, you have to track every car that passes every camera and keep that data for 30 days so that that historical data can be searched when a crime is committed. The idea is once the burglary is reported, you can only search for the burglar after they've left the scene. Well, with Flock, you can go back in time and see which vehicles entered that neighborhood or were nearby at the time. They're great for leads. The problem is, because you're tracking everyone without a warrant and without reasonable suspicion, when bad actors want to use that information, and some of them are police officers, they've been arrested for stalking their exes or love interests, well, that technology is just as powerful for those uses as well.
And we've had the debate about them here, especially in the Toledo area, with Toledo police saying they're such a great resource. Are you talking to departments, are you talking to agencies that are starting to change their mind, that are not as interested as they were before?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. More than 24 police departments this year alone have canceled their Flock contracts. Flock says many more have started their contracts, but Denver, Colorado is probably the biggest that comes to mind. And it came down to, just who has access to this data, because, Denver could control how its police department uses its cameras. But this is how Flock works, is they're networked with other police departments, and it's up to each city, each county, each agency, which agencies they share with. But your police department in Toledo might have an excellent policy for how it handles and audits the Flock camera searches. But there are multiple police departments connected to Toledo's police department in many cases, just as an example. And that, how does Toledo hold a police department in Kansas responsible for how it searches Toledo's cameras?
Well, there you go, guys. We could beat that to death. If nobody has anything quick to add to that, we'll move on to the prep of the week.
We'll move on real quick, but why would an HOA need Flock cameras?
A great question. Just like a gun range in Ocala that's in the middle of Ocala National Forest, why would that have Flock cameras? Really no reason, unless, of course, something were to happen there. I get that. So it's just a question. It can be used for malice, as I think is what Tony was saying. It can be used for malice. At some point, it could say, this guy's going to the gun range. Although he didn't commit a crime, why is he going to a gun range if I know he's been a convicted felon at one point? And then now you've made that crime, like Patrick said.
Yeah.
There has to be a crime before you utilize the system. And I think what's going to end up happening, and I hope not, is like Patrick says, show me the picture of a person and I'll have the crime. I'll have the crime, right? So interesting stuff. We'll move on though, guys. Go to that page, download that file, and there's a whole bunch of great information.
Patrick said at first he needed somebody to send him the link, and then he's like, "Oh wait, I'm already a member."
Yeah, I sent it on there. All right,
Patrick,
time
if
it
you
is.
spent more time knowing what you're a member of than maybe
This
trying to
guy's
break
so
the
smart.
algorithm.
He's so smart though. He's probably a member of a million things, and he just absorbs all of it like a friggin' sponge, which is crazy.
It's time for this week's prep of the week.
All right, Russ, you know what time it is. Let's run these.
Is that time?
Well, let me go first, guys. My prep of the week, actually, I did a prep of the week. My buddy Jason put me onto a website. I think it was called trueprepper.com. Anyway, long and short, a ton of free PDFs on there. I downloaded every single one that they had. I added them to mine, and I'm putting it on a USB drive for whoever happens to need that. So that is my prep of the week. Russ, you got anything, brother?
Well, I guess you could say I practiced driving my RV through mountainous terrain. I may have pissed off Tom and Kelly because they were following me, but I now know I can drive my 42-foot fifth reel up and down passes in Montana, and there were a couple of them that were pretty interesting. But we took our time. It wasn't so much the train; it was more so the drivers on there. But Pete, as well as I do, when we go down stuff like that, we take our time and screw everybody else who's behind us. They can go around.
I drive like a little old lady.
Absolutely.
So Tony,
that's about it.
Oh, perfect. Tony, like every week we do a prep of the week. Now I know you're working right now. I know you probably got some illegal immigrants there that you need to take to the detention center in the back there. By the way, they've been very.
How do you know I'm not on the bad end of this?
They've been very quiet, and you've done a good job. Did you threaten to tase them? I don't know what's happening, but good job. Did you do anything this week? Tell us what you did this week, brother.
Well, since I came back from the show, I'm just kind of refitting, and this gig I'm on now requires some different equipment. So I kind of went through a lot of my tactical stuff, which I'll do periodically anyway. So I'm just changing some of my setups and things like that, if that isn't too vague.
Yeah, no, that all counts. And guys, don't forget, if you need if you're running low on preps of the week, and if you don't have body armor yet, Alpha 42, he's revamped. Tony's revamped his website a little bit, and his stuff is lightweight, which I appreciate because I'm old and slow now, and stuff like that. Russ, let's run through them, brother. What you got?
All right. Let's see. We got here. What's the Rev doing this week? French fry. Bought extra super groovy tactical light for the 19 that Fearless Leader recommended.
I did, and actually, guys, at Harbor Freight has a knockoff of TLR ones, and they're relatively cheap. I think they were $80 or so, $70. I put it side by side to my TLR one, and it fits in the holster, just as many lumens, and you're paying a little bit. So, one is none. If you could buy two of these things, you're in good shape. Throw the next one up. I'll read it, Russ.
All righty.
Prep of the week guy did some range time with the group. Absolutely perfect. And he shot me some of his numbers that he shot. That was pretty impressive.
Awesome.
Go ahead with the next one.
Yeah.
Tony, what do you got here? Can you read that, Tony?
Yes. JCAS, did I say that right? I don't want to mess it up. It says aim small, miss small. Guys killed it this week in training, point shooting. Fantastic. I love to see the training ones.
Perfect.
Well, and I got to pick at Jason a little bit, and because Pete's not down there in Florida, all they're going to be doing all summer is shooting. And then when Pete gets back, Pete makes them do something other than, because there is also another than.
Yeah, we had a little teleconference yesterday, and I think we've come up with a little training agenda while I'm gone. The next one up, Russ, it's yours.
All right. Yep, Miss Terry. She froze more corn, got another tree that fell in the backyard that they had removed. They got hit by those storms. What it was about a month ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And here you go, Pete.
Gotcha. Julie says, got Charlie and Wendy to take some crazy amount of figs off of our hands. Yeah, I love figs. I can't get mine to grow down in Florida.
They got inundated with figs.
If I spent some more time down there, I might be able to get them to grow. Throw the next one.
All right. Here you go, Tony. This is from Susie Q or Susie Q.
I learned to drive a tractor yesterday. Man, that's fantastic.
Good. And I tell you what, teach Miss Melissa how to drive it, because somehow my brush hog got a big old dent put in the side of it. And so much so, Russ, the blades wouldn't spin anymore without hitting. And then she brings it back and she goes, I don't know how that happened. How can you not know that happened? It's like an illegal immigrant driving a semi. How do you not know that happened? Anyway,
boy, you are so lucky she's down in Florida right now.
She was prepping you to train on tractor repair.
Well, that's a good point.
There you go. There you go.
Didn't know. It's master plan.
All right. Patrick 7 says he did absolutely nothing. He considers this a prep because we need time to clear our minds. I don't disagree with that.
Mental health day, brother. You deserve it. You do a lot.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so it's Tony's turn. You got Miss K-Love.
All right.
Prep of the week, just working out in the gym. Good. Health first, guys, remember. I don't like it, but I do it anyway. And actually, Will keeps me on task. He checks up on me every couple of days, making sure I'm getting my ass out of the writing shack and relocating some LBs, if you would.
Well, okay, Tony. You got Skidmore this time.
All right. Just picked up a crossbow pistol. Has an 80-pound draw.
Nice.
Oh, that's good training, and you're going to get a good workout.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead, Russ.
Yep, and this will be the last one while you check all comments there, Pete.
Gotcha.
Patrick says that he has done something similar to what you did. He has an offline tablet that he loaded full of stuff like what you were talking about with field manuals, things, including maps and a bunch of other stuff. You can get a compressed version of the entire Wikipedia. Doesn't take up that much space, and you literally have all that information offline. One word of warning, folks, with Wikipedia, I can write stuff on the Wikipedia. Go down to the sources and validate the sources to make sure that what those people are saying on there is a valid source.
This because they're allowed to input their own information.
Yep.
Right.
This is coming from an old historian that, learned how to validate those sources to make sure they're reputable sources.
Perfect. Tony, lead us out, brother.
Yeah, I just real quick, I just want to everybody to take a moment. There's a lot of flooding going on in West Virginia. It's affecting a lot of people. Texas also, and a lot of wildfires all over Colorado and different places. And take those opportunities to see what other people are going through and look at your own space and see where you can get better. And I also just want to, again, thank everybody at Kentucky Sustainable Living for a great weekend. And if you are in the Montana and Western Wyoming area, please go out to Mountain Readiness out in Swan Lake. Toombs and everybody's out there. They put on a great show. And unfortunately, I won't be able to make it. But please get out there and get some training and get some good gear.
Well, guys, I'm out here at Mountain Readiness West, and like Tony said, if you're in the area, come on out. We have people come. I mean, my crew, they come with me. We've come all the way from South Carolina, West Virginia, North Carolina. A bunch of us coming over this way. We have people here from Washington, Oregon, just all over the place. Come out, get some training. Get some training in your local area. Mountain Readiness, Bob, he does such a great job. I'm going to push it out. We have Fallout in North Carolina in October, along with Sovereign Health Summit. And then Mountain Readiness is going on the road again. We're going to Texas in March of next year. So get your training, folks. Stay safe. And that's all I got, brother.
Very cool, guys. Guys, be prepared, not paranoid. It's like we always say. Great show tonight, guys. Thanks, Tony from Alpha 42. Thank you, Russ from BrokenSpokes Productions. It was a top-notch show. I think we got some good information out there. Guys, do not forget to go to Eden Army Survival and Outdoors Facebook page. You can download this guy, which the green screen is doing cool things too. But download that guy. I put a little bit of work into it to probably answer some of your questions, maybe quell some of your thoughts, maybe stop you from being worried. But couple this type of things with the data centers going on in the world, makes for interesting times. So guys, be safe. If you can't be safe, well, be dangerous.
Thanks for watching the Eden Army podcast. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And remember, be safe. If you can't be safe, be dangerous.